Okay.
That's pretty. Let's see.
Yeah, you're kind of centered on there, so that's pretty good.
That'll work, right?
Yeah.
See my hands?
Yep. Well, kind of. Your fingertips are cut off. Yeah, you have to.
Well, it's actually. Can you edit this?
Yeah.
Maybe you can show it.
Yeah.
It's recording right now.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Before we get going, are you two ready?
Yeah.
Everybody ready?
Everybody, yeah!
All right. Well, hey, before I get going, I always like to find out who is in the audience. So I'm going to start asking you a few questions. Number one, who here is alive and breathing? Can I see if you're alive? Go ahead and check your hands. Make sure. Blow into that.
Yep.
Make sure you can
I'm
feel your
breathing.
breath there.
Oh.
Good. Okay. Who here is married or else ever has been married, or is single or ever has been single?
That includes everybody.
Okay, good. How about who here has a job, is wanting a job, or else doesn't want a job but still wants to get some money? Would that be?
Yeah, that would be all of us again.
Okay. Well, as far as money goes, how about who here wants to have money, either wouldn't mind a little bit more money, or else has plenty and wants to give some to me? Does anybody else have plenty of money? Okay. What about volunteering at church? Who here volunteers either at church or with sports, or maybe with kids, or in any way volunteers or admires people who do volunteer? You think that's
Yes, that covers
pretty good
everybody
thing?
again.
Good. And then the last question here is, who has kids, wants kids, ever has been a kid, or maybe still is a kid? Anybody here? All right, well, we're all going, and so what I'm going to talk to you today is about something that will help to make you more successful in every area of your life. Okay, so it doesn't matter what area that you want to be successful at. If you do what I'm talking about today, you're going to be more successful in not only the one area you want to be, but maybe every area of your life. You'll be more successful if you do this right one thing I'm talking to you about today. And that is having godly thinking. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you about that. But before I do, I want to talk to you, tell you a little story. My wife is the most amazing woman I know. She absolutely blows my mind at how she's able to do the things that she does. Okay, but I'll tell you this. My wife, we've been married, we're going to be 11 years this October, and she has never slept in the entire time. She wants to, mind you, sometimes I'm sure. But every morning, just about, I wake up and I get out of bed. I get up a little bit before her, so I walk over and I'm kind of doing one of these and trying to, get over, get my clothes out and stuff. So I turn the light on, and I'm always surprised. I'm like, then she goes, ah, and goes one of those, puts the blanket over her head. And I'm like, oh, that's right. And I go to turn the light off, and I don't know why. I've been doing it 365 days in a year for 10 years, and it still surprises me. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Don't turn the light on. And so I'm like, oh, sorry, baby. She's like, one of those little. And then if it's not me, then it's my other daughter, my oldest daughter. She comes in, and we have a rule in our house that you have to knock on the door before you just walk right in. Well, what happens is my kids don't necessarily always follow that, and so my youngest daughter, she knocks as she opens the door. She's like, Mom! And so she comes in, crawls in bed, and she never sits on the side where I was, because that side's open. Instead, she sits on the side where my wife has, she's all crumpled up like this, and she starts scooching in the 0.5 millimeter. So my wife's like, got to scoot over, and she's like, But then, if it's not her, then it's my youngest. Because my youngest, she doesn't bother knocking. She just swings the door open and goes, bam, and Mom comes walking in. It's got a little, the little lock on the back of the door. It's got a nice little hole behind on my wall where my daughter just pushes that door open, slams it open. So she comes in, and of course she walks in, and my wife's like, what? And she just stands here, my youngest one, and goes one of those, and she doesn't know what she wants. So my wife's like, oh, fine, I'm up. So she's up. That's about how almost every morning somebody's waking her up besides her getting to sleep in. So what happens is throughout the day, little things like that kind of keep happening. Like we have an extension cord in our house, where we plug in like the light or whatever. And nobody else trips on it, except for my wife. She, all the time, she'll be walking along and she'll trip over that cord. And I don't know what it is, but she seems to always, she has magnets on the bottom of her toes. Where anything in the house, she's the one who normally hits it. So then that kind of happens, and then I don't know if you guys have stairs at your house, but we've got stairs at our house, or if you know somebody who does. And what we do is we have when we clean up the downstairs, we'll gather all the stuff and we'll put some things on the stairs, and we'll take this. When we go upstairs, we'll take all the stuff. Well, nobody else seems to step on anything except for my wife. She'll go down the stairs, and you'll hear, no matter where I'm at in the house, I'll hear, ah! I know she's probably stepped on one of the princess crowns that my daughter's left on the stairs there. So those things kind of keep building up, and then, and throughout the morning I'm like, hey, do you know where my socks are? And she's like, yeah, they're over here. And my daughter's like, Mom, where's my homework? I need my homework. They're freaking out. They're running around looking for homework. My wife's like, it's in the backpack. And she's like, my kids are like, no, it's not. I can't find it. So my wife walks over to the backpack, opens it up, and what's she find?
Homework.
The homework. You got it. So it's right here. And she holds it up, and you see, this level just rising a little bit. And each time you hear a little bit, and it just kind of builds up throughout the day. I don't know if you guys ever have this thing. Little things start to build. And by the end of the day, my wife, she, it'll normally happen to me that I'll ask her something. And I'll be like, sweetheart, do you know where I put the keys? And it's the keys! Why do you make me wear the keys? And it's all over. And she's upset and does these things. And I'm like, my question is, was she really that upset about the keys? No, of course not. The thing is, those little things build up. Okay, so I want to encourage you. That's kind of what we're talking about. I'm going to be talking to you today about doing the little things every day that build up to make big success in your life. Okay, because you have to take the little steps forward every day. Every day, little steps. That's how you make big success. Everybody looks for the big break or, the quantum leap. But really, it's all about the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's the little thing. And, the quantum leap is an actual term. It's where, you ever seen the spark between one thing and another? And then maybe if you're at church or you're at a ball game and you're meeting somebody new, because it's always somebody new, where you walk up and you shake their hand and then you get the electric shock there. Well, that's a kind of a quantum leap thing. What happens is all that electricity, static electricity, is stored in your body, and then at that moment, it's released. Well, that's how things work with your progress. And so with your godly thinking, you need to be feeding your mind. And I'm going to be talking to you today about 4 ways that you can feed your mind on positive, encouraging things. Okay, so, there are, number one way to have godly thinking is you have to think you're a success and that you're worthy of success. Okay, the second thing is that others can have good and so can I. The third thing is you have to find the place where you're better than you used to be. Where am I better than I used to be? And then the fourth one, the one we're going to talk about specifically, is thinking superior and encouraging thoughts. Okay, so the way I'm going to tell you another story here. Have you guys ever, I went to the butcher shop the other day. I don't know if you guys ever went to like actual butcher shop where they can give you like hams. And it's really cool because we got this special butcher shop and he comes out and he rolls out that white paper and he wraps it all up and it's cool. Well, I went there and I got, a big thing of ham. And of course my wife told me to go get it. So I went there and got the ham and he unrolled it and cut it off and took a piece and wrapped it up, put it in the bag, put a brown bag, piece of tape over it. I grabbed it, put it in the car, drove back home, put it on the table, and I did it. Look at that ham. Felt good about myself, My wife told me to do something, I did it, got the ham. She looks at it, she's like, what'd you do? I'm like, what'd I do? What do you mean what'd I do? She's like, you didn't cut the end off of it. I was like, cut the end off the ham? What are you talking about? You don't cut off that. Why? She's like, you always cut the end off the ham. I'm like, you cut the end off the ham? What? She's like, well, my whole life, I've always cut. I was like, why? She's like, well, that's the way you do it. I was like, says who? She's like, my mom always cut the end off the ham. I was like, your mom, why? I was like, what should I was like, well, okay, that's what you do. And so I was like, well, I want to know why. So I called up her mom. I'm like, hey, Mom. I put her on speakerphone and we're all talking. I'm like, Mama, why do you got the ham? I thought I did a good job. I got the ham. I went to the butcher shop, wrapped it in brown paper, brought it here. She's like, well, you always cut the end off. So I'm like, so we get down to it. Her mama had always cut the end off.
Exactly.
So we three-way. I go to Zoom now. Okay, now I'm doing a 3-way call. I've got everybody on here, and I'm like, Grandma, why do you cut the end off the ham? She's like, well, honey, you don't fit in the roaster if you don't cut the end off.
I knew there had to be an original reason.
I said, the roast? I'm like, we've got a Dutch oven now. We got a huge oven. It fits in there, no problem. So you see, my wife and her mother and people, they had been doing things just because it's the way they'd always done it.
Right.
And so I want to encourage you today, just because maybe you've always done something a certain way, doesn't mean you have to keep going with it. Okay? And in fact, that story I just shared with you, it's actually a story from that a guy named Zig Ziglar tells.
Okay.
And he's somebody that I listen to every day. In fact, he has YouTube. He has YouTube pages. He has books. He has all kinds of things on being positive and motivational speakers.
Right.
And so I purposefully every day go to him and I listen to those things. And it's very important as to why I do that. I do that specifically when I am having a hard time with something. You know, if I start to get down and upset and discouraged, I have a tendency to go to food. Well, a good idea is instead of doing that, why don't you stay up? You know, they always say you can't stay high. Well, I tell you what, the best time to listen to positive, encouraging things is when you're feeling positive and encouraging. So you need to open up every day, listen to something positive and encouraging, because the only way to have more success in every area of your life is by, one main way is through godly thinking. And the way to have godly thinking is by purposefully listening to positive, encouraging things. So I just want to encourage you to do that today. And if you don't mind, I'd like to pray with you before you go. So, Lord God, I just pray a special blessing on everyone who hears these words, that they will feed their mind on positive, encouraging things, so that they will think encouraging thoughts, so that they can have godly thinking every day of their life, so they can be more of a success in every area. In Jesus' name, amen.